Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the BroncCast, the official Cal Poly Pomona Athletics podcast. I am your host, Tyler Loby, the Assistant Athletics Director for Communications here at CPP. This week's podcast features members of the CPP men's basketball team. I sit down with head coach Greg Kamansky and seniors Phoenix Shackelford and Mason Dickerson to talk about the national powerhouse that Coach Kamansky has built in his 20 years at CPP, the continued effects of the COVID-19 pandemic with regards to virtual instruction, where they like to play on the road in the CCAA, and we wrap it up with why Phoenix and Mason love eating at Chili's. Here it is, episode 6 of the BroncCast. Here with members of the Cal Poly Pomona men's basketball team. If you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves, beginning with Coach Kamansky.
I'm Coach Kamansky, Greg Kamansky. I've been at Cal Poly since 1998 and been the head coach since the year 2000. So I'm going into my 21st season as a head coach here. So I love the place and love the university and a little bit of background. I graduated from UC San Diego. I'm my undergraduate. Got my master's degree at San Diego State in business and ended up somehow, I'm not going to go into all the stories, but ended up in coaching. Ended up at Fresno Pacific University for my first 5 years of my coaching career. And then a friend of mine got the head coaching job here at Cal Poly Pomona in 1998, and he left in 2000, and the rest is history. So glad to be here.
Great. Phoenix.
Phoenix Shackelford. I'm going into my 4th year here at Cal Poly Pomona, and from Vallejo, California, and went to Vandy High School in Fairfield.
Great. And Mason.
My name is Mason Dickerson. This is my 5th year at Cal Poly Pomona. I'm a business marketing major, and I'm from Long Beach. And after I graduate, I'm planning on being a firefighter.
Great. Before we get started, Mason, Phoenix, Lakers, Warriors. They're to play. Who's winning?
Lakers.
I'm a Warriors fan. I can't.
That's what I'm saying. I figured there was some little animosity there. Okay. Greg, Coach Kamansky. I'll start off by saying phenomenal coach. I began my professional career as a sports information director up at Sonoma State, as you know. And that same year, you won the national championship. So I've been able, even though I've been here at Cal Poly Pomona just 2 years, I've been able to follow your success for the last 11 years. It wasn't really until I dug deep into the numbers that I began to realize that your career is beyond impressive. With that, I want to highlight a couple of things that I found during the course of my record book creation. And just wanted to point some of those out. Obviously, one national championship, won it in 2009, 2010. 5-time CCAA Coach of the Year, 3-time West Region Coach of the Year, the 2010 National Coach of the Year. You've won 18. You've had winning seasons in 18 of the 20 seasons that you've coached here at Pomona. 13 NCAA tournament appearances, 4 West Region titles, 417 career wins. The coach in the CCAA with the second most wins is Greg Klink of Chico. He has 229 wins. You currently have more career wins than any active head coach in the West Region. In fact, Greg Sparling of Alaska Fairbanks and Mick Durham of Montana State Billings have 5 more years of head coaching experience than you, but you still have more wins than them. You are 222 and 47 at home. That's winning almost 83% of home games. When leading at halftime, 321 wins, 44 losses. That's 88%. A record of 97-9 when the game is decided by 20 points or more, which is pretty incredible. A record of 224 wins, 23 losses when you hold your opponents to 59 points or less. And finally, the 6 times you have had winning streaks of 10 or more games, but you've never had a losing streak of 5 or more games. You've had losing streaks of 4 games twice, and that's it. But really, I mean, that's incredible. That's amazing. I could go on and on. We could be here all day, and I could keep rattling off numbers because that's what I do. Of these highlights, you look back on your coaching career that you've had so far, and what would you say is the most rewarding of all of it?
I think just experiencing the journey with all these young men. I mean, we get a lot of these players come in as freshmen. Some obviously are juniors and seniors, but, just I think bottom line is being a former athlete myself, I think that helps to put your shoes in their shoes a little bit, you know what I mean? And what they experience and understanding. I mean, as a player, I never got the chance to play for a national title. I never got to play in the NCAA tournament, and it still burns me to this day. And so part of my motivation each and every year is to get these guys to believe and to come together as a team so they can get to the NCAA tournament to have a chance. And I mean, that's put that as a chip on my shoulder a little bit, but I think putting myself in their shoes a little bit and trying to give them the opportunity to do that is why we coach. And obviously, I was thinking about it comes with 3 T's: toughness, talent, and team. And I think we try to install that into our players' heads every year. You got to have, first of all, the team mentality. What does that mean? I can spend an hour. I'm not going to spend an hour talking about that, but being unselfish is the biggest thing, and not caring about the outcome, not caring about as much, even though I know, again, as a former player, you care about points and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we need guys to score and do all that, but we ask the guys to give up a lot for the betterment of the team. And I think, number one, if a team has that, you got a chance every game you play. Talent, obviously, you got to be talented. We have to go get some guys that can make plays and do some good things, and especially in our elite years. I mean, we've had the perfect combination of size, athleticism, skill set to put it all together. So I mean, that's something that on our recruiting trail that we try to formulate every team that we have. It's not going to be perfect every time, but you have to have some talent, obviously, to win a lot of games. And then the toughness, we always preach about the physical toughness. It's a physical sport. There's no way around it. And guys are bigger, stronger, and more athletic, it seems like, every year. And, we got to have guys that aren't afraid and want to stick their nose into the game and stick their nose into the play all the time. And then the mental toughness, making good, mental reads and, during the game and off the court too, being committed to the team, the program off the court, whether it means, coming back from a late game and going to class at 8:00 in the morning. But the mental part of it, because you're tired and you're sore and you're hurt half the time, and getting through things. And that's where I think our teams have excelled at is our mental toughness. And so you get the combination of the 3, you win a lot of games, to be honest. Obviously, I've been blessed. One of the smartest things I've ever done was surround myself with good people too. Whether it's the players that I trust or whether it's my assistant coaches I've had through the years. We've had a good staff at Cal Poly Pomona, and our administrative staff has been supportive. So I've been lucky enough and blessed enough and smart enough to surround myself with good people and let them go. It's kind of what I do with my players. I know a guy knows what he's doing. I let him go a little bit. You know what I mean? We'll correct guys. But the reality is, we want to surround ourselves with good people, and we have been blessed to do that. And so all that combination through the years, it's kind of our blueprint. We've been successful for 20 years doing that. It doesn't mean it's not a challenge. But we've been pretty smart about who we want to bring into the program and who we surround ourselves with the program. And I think that equates to all the success that Cal Poly's had.
You were an assistant here for 2 years before being promoted to head coach in 2000, 2001. The CPP men's basketball program made the NCAA tournament just 3 times in the previous 53 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've taken the Broncos to 13 NCAA tournaments and turned the program into a national powerhouse. You kind of alluded to how you've done it. Was that something that you came into your head coaching career with that philosophy you just mentioned, or was it something that has evolved over the years?
Well, I think I had a good idea on who I wanted to coach, what type of player I wanted to coach. From my previous stint at Fresno Pacific, the guy I worked for, he's my best friend now, but he had a really good knowledge on basketball and what it takes as far as team building and how to formulate a team. And I think I took that when I became head coach on who I wanted to recruit. And we got really fortunate. Our first couple of recruiting classes, we had basically two All-Americans, even though David wasn't an All-American, but we had Jeff Bonds, who was young, 6'7" guard forward. And we had David Sebesma, who was a 6'7" guard forward. And Jeff was an All-American and David was Player of the Year in the conference. So surrounding our talent, we had talent, and both those guys were super tough and great people. And we kind of built the program around them a little bit, and we were able to get some really good players surrounding them. And that's what kind of took us off a little bit. But yeah, we had to make some adjustments on when I first got here. But I mean, my first team, I remember, I mean, I would describe them, they were barroom brawlers, and that's how I describe them. They established the absolute toughness that we wanted. I mean, I was a little bit more rowdier than those days as far as preaching toughness and physicality. And I mean, they didn't back down to anybody, and they were not afraid to go down. We weren't quite as talented, I don't think, as the years after that, but they established, the bottom line of where we want to be as far as physicality. And that carried on over to the next couple of years. And then once our recruiting classes got in and developed, it just took off from there. So
now Phoenix and Mason, you guys go 23-7 last year. You finished second in both the CCAA regular season and CCAA tournament. You earn an at-large bid in the NCAA tournament as the number 3 seed, and find out you're headed back to La Jolla for a second straight weekend. You were in La Jolla for the CCAA tournament. And then right about that time is when we kind of start hearing about all of this COVID-19 stuff coming out. It hadn't quite affected games yet. It hadn't affected, fans in the stands yet. They had just made the announcement probably right before you went down there that there would be no fans in the stands, stuff like that. But then you get to La Jolla, and then you're told probably after shoot around of practice that the whole tournament is canceled. And then you're headed on the bus, headed back to Pomona. Take me through the emotions of that week from the student athlete perspective. And either one of you can start with that.
Yeah, I'll start. It was pretty crazy, honestly, because, we've been working all season. We were excited. We felt like we had a great chance of winning. So we were all really excited to play. And I remember when we first started hearing about it, we kind of heard some things from the women's team. And then we saw on Twitter that someone in the NBA had got it. And then the NBA was all of a sudden canceled. And then we got the call that everything was canceled and shut down. And then when we went back to the hotel, we just saw all the other teams leaving. And it was pretty surreal that it just ended so quickly. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, pretty much what Mason was saying. It was an unbelievable feeling. You really sit there and think this is really happening. We're really going back home. After we just drove down here, had a couple practices, we're feeling good, because we played the weekend before at the same place. So, we kind of learned the rims a little bit. And then Coach K walks to the back of the bus and tells us that, hey, we're going home. Everything's canceled. Everything's shut down. So it was it was a weird feeling. I can't really describe it. It was just like you're just kind of like moving along, like you weren't really like consciously like moving your body. It was just everything was just kind of flowing by. Time was just moving, and you're just in the moment, just in shock. Really, I guess that's the best way to describe it. So, yeah.
You guys had just played UC San Diego in the conference tournament final, and they beat you pretty significantly. But then I'm sure you go home, you think about it, and you're ready to come back to La Jolla. You're going to play Point Loma to lead it off, and then hopefully match up with UC San Diego somewhere down the road. I'm sure that was in the back of your minds because you wanted a chance at San Diego again. Am I right?
Well, yeah, of course we wanted a chance at San Diego, but the past couple years we lost in the first round when we felt like we definitely could have went farther than that. So San Diego was definitely in our minds, but we were just focused on just winning the first game, just getting out of the first round. So just not having the chance to do that just sucked. Yeah,
that was honestly the main focus was Point Loma. Like San Diego, yeah, we of course want that the get back, but Point Loma was our first. That was our first game, so that was the first thing on our mind was getting past them.
Coach, you want to add to that at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think even though we didn't play great, and San Diego's were probably the top team in the country at the time when we lost to them. But what was kind of people forget is the game before when we played Chico, was the best game we played all year. We blasted them, and so I felt like we were in good shape coming into the Point Loma game. They were defending regional champs, which was motivating. As a team, we wanted to knock them off, and I felt like especially for our senior and everybody on our team, not just our seniors, but just to give them a chance to win that first round NCAA game. I think we could have obviously made some good waves into the tournament, and who knows what would have happened that San Diego, if we would have played San Diego again. But San Diego had to play Chico, who beat them early in the year. So who knows if San Diego would have been there. But I liked our mentality. I liked our team. I really felt confident with our team that we could have done some good things in the NCAA tournament, and our, especially with four seniors, so. But it is as it is. I always say I've been in coaching so long. I swear I've seen everything, and every year something happens that I've never seen before. And unfortunately, this was a new experience for all of us. But it was heartbreaking for our players, because they put so much energy and effort, and all the stuff they've done not to be able to chance to prove what they how good they really are and how good our team really was. And again, it takes nothing away from what we accomplished. But that is why we play, is to get to the NCAA tournament. And again, we weren't the only team. I was telling them UC San Diego is one of the top teams. They're probably thinking national title, and it was taken away from them too. So we weren't the only ones in that situation. But I did have a bad feeling once the NBA, and the media started to get a hold of it. I remember telling Coach Hill, going, once the media gets a hold of it, I think it could be done. And within a couple of days it was. So, but yeah, it was surreal, and it was unfortunate, and obviously it's still unfortunate of what we're in right now. So, but it is what it is, and we're not the only ones going through it. And but it was a great team last year, and I would like to see how we would have done at the end.
Phoenix and Mason, you guys, once you returned to campus, it was very soon after that you found out that the instruction and classes would then be moved online to virtual learning. And that's where we stand today. We're in the middle of virtual learning. How was that pivot from in-person classes to virtual learning, and how is it working out for you right now?
I'll start. It's tough, honestly. Especially because you just have a lot of the teachers also aren't used to teaching online, just like we're not used to having online classes. So sometimes it can be confusing keeping up with due dates, assignments, teachers having technical difficulties. I know I've had a couple of my classes just canceled because teachers can't figure out how to work the equipment. So it's tough, but if it's what we have to do to keep everyone safe, then it is what it is.
Yeah, like Mason said, it's really tough, honestly. I kind of rely on like in-person classes, so to turn in like, papers and stuff physically. So I really have a mental note of when I turn stuff in and stuff. So like now everything's online and everything relies on your computer. Like, everybody has different challenges when they're back home. So like when I'm back home, I feel like it's summer. So the hardest thing is like really gearing up and locking in the classes when I have like, all my summer activities still going on. So yeah, it's tough.
Have any of you picked up any new skills during this pandemic? Maybe some other sport, some singing lessons. If no new skills, I mean, what have you been doing in your free time? And I'll let anyone answer this.
I actually started surfing, which I never thought I'd be able to do. So I'm a surfer now. So
nice, like it.
Yeah.
I started gardening, planting fruit trees in my backyard.
That's common. I heard that from Garrett Jensen at men's soccer. He talked about doing a lot of that too. And
it's very relaxing, honestly. I'll advise it for anybody to do it, to start it.
And I told him after that, I mean, my grass has never been greener. I mean, I'm outside making sure that grass is watered and it's fertilized and looks good. So I get that.
Yeah.
Coach.
I walk a lot more. That's something that's good. I get up and try to walk every morning that I can and try to get a little bit of a workout in. It's been super hot, so it's actually not as bad as a workout, but I do the lawn all the time for 20 years, so that's nothing new to me. But no, it's obviously I'm itching to get back. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of these guys, I mean, the biggest thing is they just want a schedule. They're used to going to class, going to work out with Chase, coming into practice, having coaches get on them for 2 hours, and then going to eat and doing their thing and getting their bodies and minds ready to compete. And it's like when you're a competitor and it's shut down for so long, I mean, we're not even together as a team. It's just hard for these guys. You know what I mean? They want to compete. It's different competing on the outdoor courts in, where Phoenix lives or whatever, or where Mace lives. And then it's different than competing in practice every day and competing with referees. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's like you just kind of had to shift your mentality. It's almost like when I became from an athlete to a non-athlete, you know what I mean? And the coaching side, it's like, you got to shut down some stuff. And so I think it's hard for these guys on that end, dealing with that. I think they're just itching to get back and just compete and beat down each other a little bit, I think. And, getting a good, their lives a little bit, where they're going to class, working out, getting ready for games. And again, we're not the only program going through that right now, but I think it's hard as an athlete that if you're not an athlete, you don't quite understand that. And so, we'll get back hopefully sooner than later. We'll, knock on wood, and we're crossing our fingers that we can get through all this. So.
Now, kind of along those lines, to Phoenix and Mason, look, this is your senior year. Assuming we have the season coming up, what are you most excited for?
I'll go.
You got it.
Go Phoenix.
Probably what I'm most excited for is, like Coach K said, to get back to have an actual schedule. Everything like worked on. It was like clockwork. School, practice, weights, eat, school, practice. Like it was just ongoing every day. It was a good rhythm that you could find through that. So that's more what I'm more excited to go back for, is just to find like a structure again.
Yeah, same. Basically, it's just not the same, just meeting like on Zoom and stuff. So, and, you hate running and doing all that, but once just sitting at home for 8 months, it makes you miss all that stuff. And just like being around the team and laughing and joking. Like we haven't been able to do any of that. And they'll tell you our locker room, we're always joking, coaches making jokes. So it's like just getting back to just having fun.
Yeah, Zoom was cool for about maybe a month, and now I'm starting to feel the Zoom fatigue, and then of course we record this via Zoom, and I apologize for that, but yeah, Zoom fatigue is real.
And I think Mason made a good point that I didn't point out is the team camaraderie stuff. You know what I mean? That's the funnest part of being an athlete at college, is seeing your teammates, being in the locker room, joking with each other and going through the journey together. You know what I mean? And that's the toughest part, I think, or a tough part for some of these athletes.
Changing gears a little bit, if any of you, and this one is for everybody, if any of you were given the opportunity to play another sport professionally outside of basketball, what would it be and why?
I'll go. Mine would be baseball. I grew up playing baseball, basketball, and soccer, and then as I was growing older and I had to start cutting some sports out because of timing issues, it ended up being baseball and basketball. So I ended up choosing basketball, but I always still have a love for baseball.
Do you have a favorite Major League Baseball team that you follow?
San Francisco Giants.
Okay. All right. I figured. Mason.
I think I'd probably want to play golf. I used to play golf all the time, and I've played it a little bit since quarantine, but I don't know, it's relaxing, it's chill.
Sometimes. It's
sometimes
relaxing.
If you're hitting good,
depends on how well you hit that ball.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I could say the same thing, but I'm going off to the other fairway to find my ball.
Yeah, those are always frustrating times.
Yes. Coach.
I will go baseball. I'm with Phoenix. I was actually a pretty good baseball guy when I was younger, and then same as him, I had to make a choice between basketball and baseball. And basketball was a little bit more exciting for me at the time, but I love baseball, and obviously I like, you're looking at the lifestyle. You're not pounding each other all the time. Those pro athletes, I know it's a long season for them, but they get to chill in a place for like 3 or 4 days and, go out to the ballpark and do their thing and then do it to the next city. And so baseball would sound like fun. Golf, Mason, I'm not sure. That's tough especially like basketball guy, a physical guy, because your instant reaction is to swing harder. Right. Yeah. And it's like, I'll never forget I'll tell you a quick story. I'll never forget the first time I played golf. My dad took me out. I was about 14 years old and I was terrible. And it was night golfing because it was so hot where we were at. And by the third hole, because I hit the first hole, it was like a par 3. I hit it right next to the cup, about 2 feet. My first time, I thought I was pretty good. And then of course I missed the 2-foot putt, and then I bogeyed the damn hole. But the next one, by the third hole, I hit it into the water like 3 times in a row. I threw my club. I was crazy. I threw my club across the fairway and walked and steamed off. And that was the last time I played golf, I think, till I was like 29 or 30. So good luck, Mason, being a pro golfer. I guess my point is, as a competitor, it's really hard to control your emotions because you're used to, hey, if I'm going to get hit, I'm going to hit someone back. And golfing's not like that. Yeah, it's a whole different mentality you got to take. So
when you go out golf, you take one good shot, and that's what puts you back on the course. Like the next day or next week, you're like, oh man, I had that one good shot. I think I can do that over and over again. Let me just go try, and then you don't, and then you had that one good shot during that round, and then that's what brings. It's golf. It's a funny sport.
Yes.
Okay. Besides Kellogg Arena. And I'm guessing probably your answers would be the same. And so I'm going to say, besides Kellogg Arena and UC San Diego, since they're no longer in the conference, of all the gyms and opposing team atmospheres around the CCAA, which place do you look forward to playing at every year?
Humboldt State, no doubt. They got good atmosphere. And I was actually born in Eureka. My dad's in the Hall of Fame over there for track, football and basketball, and so I always have a big crowd over there. It's always a pretty toxic environment too, so it's fun, and they have a pretty good gym.
This is tough. I might say I'm gonna say Chico, because they always have a pretty good crowd. It's always real rowdy in there, and the intensity is really high. I love playing at Chico.
What about you, Coach?
Any place that have fans, to be honest. I mean, Chico is usually the place. They didn't draw that much this year, Phoenix, did they? I thought it was going to be a packed house, and but they didn't draw very well this year. But any place, sometimes Stanislaus has a lot of fans. That's always an interesting place to play. Even San Francisco State, it's a small gym, but they can get packed in there. So just a place that has a lot of fans. I really, back in the day, my favorite place was when the UC Davis was in the league. That was a lot of fun. They had a big band and a lot of crowd and a beautiful arena. So San Bernardino's fine too. San Bernardino back in the, they've been getting better fans and that kind of stuff. So that's a nice arena too. So anywhere where we win, that's all I care about.
That's right. And Coach, who's your favorite coach to coach against in the league?
Well, there's different, I'm friends with a lot of these guys and probably someone that I really respect and I'm good friends with is the Chico coach, Coach Klink. Obviously he's been in the league for a little bit, but he's done a great job over there. Eric down at San Diego, they're out of the league, but he has my former assistant, Clint, Coach Allard, but they're all good guys. You know what I mean? I like them all, and I think we have pretty good camaraderie. We respect each other. It's a tough league. It's really good coaches, and they know us, backwards and forwards, and so it's a challenge every single day. Coach Fiscaldo at Sonoma was a good friend of mine. He retired this year, but it's a tough league, and I don't know if there's one favorite I'd like to coach against. But every again, coach is very good in this league, and it's a challenge. So
I'm glad you bring that up because it's a lot of even the student athletes and then the fans, and they don't realize that there is a friendship behind each competition, and all of these coaches, they're fiery and they compete against each other, the nights that they play, but you guys get together at least once a year to do your at least conference meetings. So you got to be somewhat civil there. And then you just kind of probably talk throughout the year and you become friends that way. And it's the same on the administrative side. I mean, all the sports information directors across the CCAA and even West region, I'm really good friends with. So when our teams go up there or go wherever they go to play, it's fun because then I get to somewhat associate with those SID friends of mine. And, we even do trivia night, each week. I mean, it's a fun, camaraderie that you have with people from other schools. And I think that's what a lot of people maybe kind of just forget about, even though there is a deep rivalry, a deep, quote unquote hate between two teams, which is really not the case ever.
Right. We had a big thing with San Bernardino for years. And we were rivals. They were really, really good. They won the league like 7 out of 8 years or something, but we would always beat them in the NCAA tournaments. And it was a major, major rival for us, but I was really good friends with that coach, Coach Oliver, before he left. And one thing you do realize, and we tell all the players is, we, as the elder statesmen in our conference now, it's amazing listening to these younger coaches talk. They are targeting Pomona all the time. That's what they talk about. That's how they recruit players to beat Pomona. It amazes me on that kind of stuff, how in their heads they got us. But that must have we've done a pretty good job over the years, but we are a target, and any sign of weakness from our program, or they sense any weakness from us, they are going to try. Our league is going to try to beat us down, since we've done the beating down for the last 20 years.
Well, absolutely.
So,
with now UC San Diego going Division I and no longer in the conference, or no longer even an opponent, in non-conference, because they're D1. You have to think that Cal Poly Pomona is the one team that everybody wants to beat. And that's a testament to what you've done, Coach Kamansky, and that's a testament to what Phoenix and Mason have done over the last 3-4 years, is to create this program that is feared. And, and you're able to step up to the challenge and still win, even though you are getting the best from every team, which is incredible. So you guys mentioned what favorite places you guys like to play at. There's nothing quite Humboldt, maybe close. Well, maybe not close, but within reason, I guess Chico, Humboldt would be close to this. But in comparison, not really. There's nothing like the atmosphere of Cameron Indoor Stadium on the campus of Duke University. Okay. Coach Kamansky, you had the chance to play there 10 years ago, and Duke has a tradition where they host the reigning Division II national champion from the year before as an exhibition game. So you go and play them. You trail by 6 points at halftime against a roster with 8 future NBA players: Mason Plumlee, Miles Plumlee, Kyle Singler, Nolan Smith, Andre Dawkins, Seth Curry, Ryan Kelly, and then somebody that may or may not be named Kyrie Irving, right? Yeah. But you end up losing 81-60. After the game, Duke head coach Mike Krzyzewski is quoted saying, "We played against a very good team tonight. Those kids are very well coached." And he repeated that several times throughout his post-game press conference. What was that whole experience like to play against Duke and in front of the Cameron Crazies?
It was incredible, to be honest. I mean, we and the players, we took in every moment. You know what I mean? We, in our shoot around, we had practice out there. We got there a few days early too. Got to tour the campus, tour their facilities. I mean, it is, talk about night and day. I mean, Krzyzewski has his own floor. Let's put it that way. You know, the players have their own practice facility with their own private trainers and that kind of stuff that they're managers, I guess, is what they say. But it was, I mean, Coach Krzyzewski is you think of him as class and all that when you talk about him. He was very classy. I mean, he says that about all coaches. I'm not trying to say, in his post-game press conference, but he came over and talked to us for 3 or 4 minutes, and and he was very gracious and thanked us for coming but it was one of the top experiences I've had as a coach, just coaching. And in that game, our guys played their tails off. At halftime, we went down to their locker room, and I looked at our guys. I know they were done. I mean, they gave everything they had for 20 minutes. You got to remember, this is early in the season. We're not even quite in shape yet. And their eyes were dropped, and they gave everything they had. And I knew the second half was going to be tough. But Kyrie Irving, I would say the best. Everyone asked, who's the best player you ever coached against? It was Kyrie Irving, no doubt.
I would guess
he was that good. So, yeah. So, but one story to that is we played at Arizona when they were number 3 in the country as an exhibition game, and we were down, I think it was like 5 at half too. We ended up losing by 13 or something like that when they had, was it Stanley Johnson, I think? Is it Stanley? You guys can help me.
Yeah.
So they had a couple pros. But talk about atmosphere. They had just opened up their arena. They had just built an extension to it, and people are outside just like it was at Cameron. But Cameron's more of an intimate setting where U of A's thing was huge, and people were crazy out there. And as far as good crazy, they love their basketball. And so that was an experience. I mean, how loud it was and all that kind of stuff. That was just as good as experience it was Duke. So different world, though. Definitely a different world than, it was, someone said we played Duke that year and we came back and opened up against like Bethany or something like that. It was a big drop. Yeah. It was a whole different drop. So, but hopefully we get the opportunity again, and it's just like, we try to get some Division I games every year, and we're getting that door slammed in our face. Ever since that trip, the Arizona trip, We almost beat Stanford, who had a couple pros on that team. We lost at the buzzer on that one and played Arizona really well. Ever since those games, no one has played us. So it's good that we can compete against those teams, but on the flip side, it's tough to get games.
Yeah, they don't want to play you. They don't want to lose in their bye games.
That's
for sure.
Yeah.
So many of us see Coach Kamansky on the sidelines as a brilliant basketball mind. But what is Greg Kamansky like away from coaching, away from work? What kinds of things would they say about you and what kinds of things do you do in your free time? And what would your wife and kids say about you as a husband and father? Kind of a personal question, I know, but
they basically always say, Coach Hill says it best, you're just a big kid. Sometimes I just like to have fun. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys, I mean, they don't know sometimes when I'm serious or not. Obviously in game time, I'm serious and that kind of stuff, but I like to have fun. You know what I mean? I'd like to, I mean, you know, whether it's ping pong or whatever we're doing on the road. And I mean, I like to have fun with, you know, I don't want to put pressure on these guys off the court a little bit. I want to make that, you know, the pressure is to compete, and everything's, you know, usually I think I'm pretty laid back, you know, but when they don't compete, that's where I get a little bit upset. And so, but I think I don't know, I think I'm a pretty good dad, you know. Sometimes, yeah, you always think you can be better, you know, think you can be a better husband at times, but I try my best, you know what I mean? I do my best, and yeah, big kid. I think a big kid. I like to have fun, man.
That.
So,
all right.
That's
perfect. So now we're going to wrap things up, and we are going to do a little bit of rapid fire. I'm going to ask you a question, and then you guys are going to come up with the first thing that comes to mind. I will, when I ask the question, we'll have Mason answer first, then we'll go to Phoenix, and we'll go Coach K. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right. First question. What is something you could eat for a week straight?
Sushi.
Pizza.
Burritos.
Okay. If you could shop for free at one store, which one would you choose?
Gucci.
Walmart.
Well, okay.
Costco.
Okay. Costco's good, especially when you have 4 kids. Yeah, I can see where Costco comes into play. Yes, no, I'm with you there. I mean, I only have 2, but one of my kids, he's only 2 years old, but he eats like he's, you know, 2 linemen. That's what he eats like. So, I'll be resubmitting my membership to Costco here real soon. If you had to live in a different state, what state would you live in?
Texas.
Texas.
Well, I lived in Texas, so it's not bad. I like Texas, but I kind of want to try Arizona. Maybe Arizona, like Flagstaff area, where it's not so hot all the time.
And they almost have seasons.
Yes,
because it does snow in the winter.
Yes.
There at Flagstaff.
Yeah, something like that.
I get that. How would you rate your karaoke skills on a scale of 1 to John Legend?
8.
Michael Jackson.
Okay.
No comment for me. No comment for me.
Come on, bro.
I'm not bad, but not the kind of music that they listen to, though. So I can hold my own.
Okay. So based on Mason and Phoenix's answers, at some point when I ask you to sing the national anthem before one of your games, you guys would do it, right? Yeah?
No chance.
No. Okay. That's what I thought.
Have a karaoke night for the athletics, all athletes.
Let's do it.
When we come back on campus.
Done.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Would you rather be invisible or be able to fly?
Fly.
Invisible.
Okay. Who was your first celebrity crush?
Beyonce.
Megan Good.
You ready for this one? And you guys probably don't even know her. Farrah Fawcett. Remember Farrah
I've
Fawcett?
heard of
I
her.
know who that is.
Yeah, that's how old I am. She was the pinup girl in the mid 70s, guys. Have you heard of Charlie's Angels? Charlie's Angels, that movie? She was in the original.
Okay.
So, yep.
If you could choose any animal to be your permanent sidekick, what animal would it be?
A gorilla.
Killer Whale.
A dog, man. A dog.
Okay. Would you rather not be able to shower the rest of your life, or not be able to brush your teeth?
Oh.
No shower or no brushing your
Jeez.
teeth.
Come on,
Brush your
man.
teeth.
Come on, man. Be able to shower.
Okay. All right.
They're both terrible options.
Yeah, they are. That's why I figured it was a good one. What was
At
that,
least
Phoenix?
there's mouthwash, gum.
Okay. And finally, what are you guys doing on November 3rd?
Voting.
That part.
Voting.
Yeah.
Very good. Yes.
You forgot, Tyler, there's one question. What's your favorite restaurant? So I'd like to hear Phoenix and Mason's.
Yeah, let's hear. Let's hear what your favorite restaurant is.
Anything but Chili's.
There must be a story there. Let's
No,
hear
we
it.
eat at Chili's all the time when we go on the road, man. It's the best place ever. So the guys don't like. They say they don't like it, but they like it. They like it. Come on, Phoenix. What's
I was
your
gonna
best?
say,
What would you eat?
BJ's.
BJ's is good.
Yes, yeah.
If it's not Chili's, we're going to BJ's.
Yeah, we've been at BJ's a few times when the budget allows.
Yeah. Very good.
So
That's the first place we went after season was canceled.
Yeah.
To BJ's?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
We had a little more in the budget.
yeah,
That's good. Yeah, you didn't have the rest of that weekend per diem to use, so you just used it all at once right there.
absolutely.
Well, the 2021 season still up in the air as of now. CCAA is working on plans to, possibly have a shortened season, and hopefully, we will have a season to see you guys back on the court, and soon. That's Cal Poly Pomona head men's basketball coach Greg Kamansky, seniors Phoenix Shackelford, and Mason Dickerson of the CPP men's basketball team. Thanks for being with me, and you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Too.
And that'll do it for episode 6 of the BroncCast. I want to thank CPP head men's basketball coach Greg Kamansky and seniors Phoenix Shackelford and Mason Dickerson for joining me today. For new episodes of the BroncCast each week, make sure to visit our website at broncoathletics.com/podcasts and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at our handle CPP Broncos. Weekly podcasts are also available for free download on Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio. For everybody in the CPP Department of Intercollegiate Athletics, I'm Tyler Lobe, encouraging you to make it a great day, reminding you that Black Lives Matter, and be sure to rock the vote on November 3rd. As always, go green, go gold, go Broncos.